Boy Scouts, now known as Scouts, should not have allowed girls to join. Up until just a year ago, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts were always separate organizations designed for a specific gender. I was a Boy Scout, and I remember it as a place where I could be myself with my other male friends. The whole point of Boy Scouts is to thrive with other guys. I realized that some people didn't like the idea of what Girl Scouts do, and that's why they wanted their daughter to join Boy Scouts. If you don't like what Girl Scouts does, you should take it up with them rather than try and force a boys' organization to allow girls and change their name. The legacy of the Boy Scouts has now been tarnished due to how sensitive society is, and I guarantee Boy Scouts would have faced a huge amount of backlash if they denied girls up until today. I might just be pulling this out of my ass, but if I remember correctly, BSA was going down in the amount of people participating in it quite a bit, so maybe it isn't all some gender equality agenda and it's partly a financial decision. BSA troops are still separated by sex, they aren't co-ed. The only difference is that there are all-girl troops under the same organization doing the same things as the all-boys troops. This doesn't hurt anyone. In Canada we went through a similar change over 20 years ago. Up until the mid-90s we were Boy Scouts Canada, but then our national offices made the decision to go co-ed and we became Scouts Canada. Fully co-ed too, not the equal, but separate route that BSA has taken. Girls are allowed to form their own units under the BSA banner but are not permitted to actually be with the boys. At the time there was a lot of pushback, but also many who embraced it from the outset. Many leaders left the organization because of the changes, while those of us who stayed made the best of the new situation. Since that time I've had many girls in my troop, some years I've had more girls than boys too, and I can honestly say that it's been a positive change for our organization. In 20 years those who are still involved with BSA will look back and wonder what all the fuss was about and see that making a change. I should also point out that BSA is one of the few national scouting organizations that was not co-ed, was actually a good thing. Male Scout here. I will admit that I was originally apprehensive of allowing girls to join scouting. Since the move was made a little over 1 year ago, my opinion has completely changed. Here's why. 1. Nearly every female unit in the Scouts of America is separate from male units. They do not meet at the same time and they do not camp with each other. I have met girls at my summer camp, but the interactions were in public and supervised, like they would be in school. The Girl Scouts of America and the World Organization of Scouting are different organizations, and nearly every other country in the World Organization of Scouting allowed girls to join before we did in America. This was nothing radical. So, for anyone saying the Girl Scouts of America should change their program to be more like the Scouts of America, that is why they have not. The core message of scouting is genderless. As an 18-year-old on the cusp of Eagle Scout, the values I learned in scouting were about leadership and ethical values. Those are things that I believe everyone should learn so that we can have a better society. Also, a fun fact, the mission statement of the Scouts never mentioned gender. In fact, the current mission statement has not changed since girls were allowed to join. I have included below. The mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and Law. Scouts is an international thing. In many countries they have co-ed scouting organizations. In the Scandinavian countries, both boys and girls go camping, hiking, learn practical skills, etc. together. The American Boy Scouts organization would not be very welcome there for their intolerance, let me tell you. I'm only happy about it because as a kid I wanted to be a Girl Scout, but every year when they had the Boy Scout and Girl Scout troop leaders come talk to us, the girl was always boring and said stuff like, "We'll learn how to bake cookies, ride a horse, babysit, file your taxes," her actual words, and as a kid, that was boring. But then the guy would come up for not Scouts and say, "Raise your hand if you want to learn how to shoot a gun," laughing face. Several kids raise hands. Yeah. Who wants to build race cars and drive them down a hill and race each other? He means the kind kids make that you fit into. I just forgot the name. More kids raise their hands. Awesome. Who wants to build campfires and roast marshmallows? And I always felt weird being a girl, 'cause all that stuff sounded right up my alley. My idol as a kid was Annie Oakley, and I love camping and race cars. But my friends would get upset when I joined in with the boys and raised my hand because you're a girl, you can't join Boy Scouts, but I always felt out of place. And it was weird as a kid. Girl Scouts always shoved their flyers for cookies in everyone's faces, but I never saw Boy Scouts do that. Maybe sell calendars occasionally or have the local were selling hot dogs outside a Lowe's, but never shove flyers for cookie sales in everyone's faces. And my Girl Scout friends frequently got mad at me for not buying their cookies because I didn't really care for overpriced cookies when I could get the same thing at the dollar store. They would tell me the Girl Scout Thin Mints tasted better, but then they would get mad when I had to remind them that I'm allergic to mint and don't like Thin Mints. I really wanted to do what the boys did when I was a kid, 'cause it seemed like more fun. It was okay if boys played in the mud, but not girls. It was fine if a boy wanted to have a battle atop the monkey bars, but if a girl did it, it wasn't ladylike. Girls were supposed to stick to talking in groups and going on the swings occasionally. Maybe it's just a crisis I had as a kid. Who knows? TLDR, I'm salty that Boy Scouts was more fun and still to this day am a tomboy. Grow up. They allowed girls in 1976. If you really wanted to just be around other guys, meet up with your friends instead of disallowing a whole gender to an organization. The whole point of Scouts isn't to thrive off other guys, and if you think it is, you shouldn't be there. Scouts is about teaching kids morals and skills. I guess unpopular opinion here too, but I'm not the most PC guy, but there should probably be just the Scouts, where you teach kids survival skills, boy or girl, it doesn't matter, because that's how you develop social skills and learn how to actually talk to women. This is like male-only schools, they're stupid.